and it looked like Caitlin Clark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason.
The world of professional sports often moves slowly, tangled in negotiations and public relations battles. But one player operates on a different timeline entirely. Just as the WNBA season cooled down, Caitlin Clark ignited a new conversation, not with a three-pointer, but with signing. She landed her first major off-season speaking gig, a move that didn't just add to her bank account, but sent a shockwave through the very foundation of the league.
Conversations last off-season was Caitlin Clark $100,000 an hour speaking gigs. Well, I'm here to tell you, she is not taking long getting back to work, raking in the cash, because she has landed.
While headlines are dominated by collective bargaining drama and internal disputes, Clark is on a different trajectory, quietly building an empire that exists far beyond the basketball court. This isn't just a side hustle. It's a masterclass in personal branding, a power play that has everyone from the league office to the fans asking one simple question: is the WNBA watching in anger or in awe? If you want to see how a modern athlete truly leverages their fame, you need to pay attention. This is a story of how Caitlin Clark is rewriting the rules and why the league might never be the same. Make sure you're subscribed, because the move she's making now will define the next decade of women's sports.
Need the money to do unrivaled. She's landing $100K to speak to speak for companies and represent companies all over the country. She's not hurting for cash, and I just think this is just the coolest thing ever that Caitlin Clark is able.
The details of this deal are what make it so significant. Clark is slated to be the featured speaker for the Long Island Association's Fall Conference, an organization synonymous with established wealth and corporate influence. This is a local school appearance or a free charity event. This is a high-stakes, paid corporate engagement at the Crest Hollow Country Club in Woodbury, a venue that speaks volumes about the expected audience. The LIA is a major business group dating back to 1926, and its past speakers are who's who of global power players, former presidents like Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, sports icons like Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, and national figures like Colin Powell. At just 23 years old, Clark will be the youngest speaker in the association's history, a testament to her unprecedented cultural footprint. Matt Cohen, the LIA's president and CEO, didn't hire her to talk about free throw percentages. He stated she's there to discuss leadership and her brand and decision-making, to handling pressure well, directly to the heart of the business community.
Look like Caitlin Clark is headed to Long Island Association, bro. So we're stating Long Island Association joined the Long Island Association's president and CEO, Matt Cohen, moderates a special conversation with Caitlin Clark discussing her record-breaking performances, impact, and cultural influence on October the 29th at 10:30 to 12:30 in New York.
While the exact figure remains private, the conversation around her speaking fees is no secret, with tickets for non-members priced at $600 apiece, signaling a premium event. Last offseason, the internet erupted with reports that Clark's rate for such appearances was around $100,000. That number seemed astronomical to some until companies started lining up. This new gig confirms that her market value has not diminished. If anything, it has solidified. She is getting paid a staggering sum simply to talk, to share her story in a room full of executives and influencers, proving her worth extends far beyond her athletic prowess. To understand the full weight of this offseason move, you have to remember the context of her summer. Her 2025 WNBA season was supposed to be a dominant sophomore chapter, but it was brutally defined by adversity. Caitlin Clark was limited to just 13 regular season games. Her year derailed by a series of frustrating soft tissue injuries in her lower body. It started with quad tightness in preseason, escalated to a quad strain just 4 games in, and was followed by bouts with left groin strain, and finally a right groin injury that ended her season in mid-July. The Indiana Fever, to their immense credit, managed to advance to the WNBA semifinals without their star player, a testament to the team's resilience. But their success also highlighted a painful reality. The league's most talked about player was often a spectator. ESPN analysts pointed to Clark's health as the single biggest offseason question for the Fever, emphasizing that the team's championship hopes are intrinsically tied to her being not just healthy, but back to her superstar form. This injury narrative makes her off-court business moves even more strategic. While she couldn't control her body's recovery timeline, she could absolutely control her brand's trajectory.
Just with working back to full health, Steph mentioned that it was kind of baby steps and getting back and making sure you don't lose what you've worked on this season. Just what are your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to get ready for, and I need to be able to find some runs and some ways to play 5-on-5, just so I can kind of get that feel back. And but more than anything, I think my main focus is really just getting my body healthy. And once we get back to 5-on-5, like just being able to test my body and make sure I know it's in a good spot where it's going to be able to hold up with everything that, we think we've corrected or we think we've worked on, to be able to know I'm in a really good spot there. And, when you go through injuries, especially in my scenario where it's been a few of the reoccurring kind of bouncing around, which isn't necessarily uncommon in my situation just because of compensation, and when you're dealing with things in that groin area, that just is kind of how it can go sometimes. I think it's important that you can become confident in your body again, and that's for anybody that goes through injury. So that's probably going to be my main focus is, just feeling 100% again, and then obviously, having that confidence in my body.
The speaking gig, then, is her first major step in the public eye since that season-ending injury, a signal that she is ready to reclaim her narrative. It's a brilliant pivot. While she focuses on rehab and getting back to full health, she simultaneously maintains her massive public profile and continues to generate significant income without risking further physical strain. This is a lesson in modern athlete management. You don't have to disappear when you're injured. You can pivot and leverage your story of resilience and leadership, qualities that are just as valuable in a corporate boardroom as they are on the court. Her ability to secure a headline-grabbing engagement like this immediately after a challenging season proves that her brand is not only injury-proof, but can thrive even when her athletic performance is forced to pause. What makes this Long Island event so strategic is that it's not an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern Clark established just last year. When news first broke that her public speaking rate was in the six-figure range, it was met with a mix of shock and skepticism. But that skepticism faded fast as companies confirmed they were willing to pay that premium. Last offseason, one speaking engagement quickly led to several more, creating a new revenue stream that most athletes take years to develop. Clark, it seems, understood her value instantly. This new announcement proves last year was not a fluke. It was a foundation of sustainable, high-margin business venture. While other players might focus solely on training or rest during the off months, Clark is multitasking, using her time to amplify her brand and her income simultaneously. She isn't just waiting for the next season to start. She's building a parallel career. This pattern is backed by staggering financials. A 2024 report from Sportico revealed that Clark earned a total of $11.1 million last year, and a jaw-dropping 99% of that, $11 million, came from off-court endorsements and deals. Her WNBA salary was a mere $76,535, a figure that set off a firestorm among fans who saw the disparity with her impact. This isn't just about one speaking gig. It's about a fundamental shift in how the most marketable athletes generate wealth. Her most valuable deal is a historic 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike, which includes her own signature shoe line set to debut in 2026. While this is the largest shoe deal in women's basketball history, it's crucial context that it pales in comparison to top NBA stars. LeBron James earns over $40 million a year from Nike, and even other stars like Giannis Antetokounmpo average $28.6 million annually from their deals. This shows that while Clark is breaking records for women, there's still a vast gap, and her speaking engagement are another avenue to close it, proving her direct value to corporate America in a way that even her landmark Nike deal doesn't fully capture. This is where the situation becomes deeply uncomfortable for the WNBA as an institution. The league's average player salary sits around $120,000 a year. Let that number sink in. Caitlin Clark has the potential to earn nearly the equivalent of an entire year's average salary in a single hour on stage. The math is brutal, and exposes a glaring financial disparity. She isn't just playing a different game on the court, she's operating in a different financial stratosphere off of it. This creates a fundamental tension. While the league and its players' union are engaged in complex and often public negotiations over collective bargaining agreement, with key issues being player compensation and revenue sharing, Clark is demonstrating a path that bypasses the system entirely. She is proving that for a singular star of her magnitude, the real money isn't necessarily in the league paycheck, but in the personal brand cultivated around it. This doesn't just make the league's pay structure look inadequate. It introduces a dangerous question for team sports. What happens when your biggest star doesn't need you to be successful? The core of the players' demand in the CBA negotiations is revenue sharing. NBA players receive nearly 50% of all basketball-related income, BRI, while WNBA players are not even guaranteed a specific percentage, with estimates suggesting their share has actually fallen from 11% to around 7% recently. This is despite the WNBA doubling its turnover in the same period, with attendance up 48% and merchandise sales skyrocketing by 600%. The league's own commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, has faced intense criticism for her handling of these issues. Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier, who is also a vice president of the Players Union, publicly accused Engelbert of saying that players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the league's media deals, and that Clark should be grateful for her off-court income because of the platform the WNBA provides. Engelbert denied making these comments, but the public rift highlights the immense pressure and frustration. Clark's ability to generate over $11 million off the court makes the league's argument about limited resources seem weak and underscores the players' central point. They are not receiving their fair share of the value they are creating. So, what exactly are companies paying for? They aren't just buying a basketball player. They are investing in a cultural phenomenon. Caitlin Clark transcends sports. Her journey, from shattering college records to driving unprecedented WNBA ratings, has made her a figure of immense public interest. Her face sells out arenas across the country. Her jersey is a top seller, and her mere presence in a game can double television viewership. Corporations aren't hiring her to discuss pick-and-roll mechanics. They're bringing her in to talk about leadership, breaking barriers, handling immense pressure, and building a legacy. She represents peak performance, resilience, and a new era for women's athletics. In the boardroom, that story is incredibly valuable. She's become a symbol of success, and that symbolism commands a premium price, making her a more powerful draw than many seasoned business leaders. The numbers back up this phenomenon status in concrete terms. The economic transformation of the Indiana Fever is a direct case study. Before Clark, in 2022, the Fever averaged a meager 1,776 fans per game and were one of the league's least successful teams. After her arrival in 2024, the team averaged over 17,000 fans per game, a nearly tenfold increase, with game day merchandise sale per person reportedly higher than any NBA team. The Fever's revenue jumped nearly 300% to an estimated $34 million, and the team's overall valuation skyrocketed by 273% to $335 million. This isn't just popularity, it's tangible economic impact. Furthermore, her influence is part of a larger boom in women's sports. A Deloitte report projects that global revenue for women's sports will hit $2.35 billion in 2025, with basketball alone surpassing $1 billion and overtaking soccer as the top-earning women's sport. When the Long Island Association pays a premium for Clark, they aren't just paying for an athlete. They are aligning their brand with the single most powerful engine of the fastest-growing segment in sports today. They are buying access to a demographic and a cultural movement that traditional business leaders struggle to reach. Looking ahead, the Long Island gig is merely a single brick in what is becoming a colossal empire. This speaking engagement is a signal to the entire marketing world that she is open for business. The natural progression is almost inevitable. We are likely looking at the dawn of a new phase for Clark. Major new Nike campaigns, a potential Netflix documentary series following her journey, and perhaps even her own basketball academy. Each of these ventures would exist primarily outside the WNBA's control, further cementing her status as an independent force. The league, meanwhile, is often preoccupied with managing its collective image and navigating internal conflicts. Clark's strategy shows a focus on individual brand equity. In an age where athletes are global brands, she is leveraging her platform to its fullest potential, ensuring that her relevance and financial success are not solely tied to her athletic career or the health of a single league, But to view this as just a few endorsement deals is to miss the larger picture entirely. What we are witnessing is a meticulous construction of a holding company named Caitlin Clark. This entity has multiple highly profitable divisions, and understanding their potential scale is key to seeing the future she is building. Let's break down the blueprint. First, the signature shoe empire. Her 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike is just the foundation. The real explosion will come with the launch of her first signature shoe, slated for 2026. In the sneaker world, a signature line isn't just a product, it's a legacy. It places her in the same rarefied air as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry. But Clark's potential market is uniquely powerful. She has a massive and dedicated female fan base, a demographic that the sneaker industry has historically underserved but is now desperately chasing. The commercial success of her shoe won't be measured just in units sold. It will be a cultural event. We're likely to see limited edition releases, collaborative designs with other artists or designers, and a marketing blitz that positions her not just as a basketball player, but as a style icon for a new generation. The revenue from shoe sales alone could eventually dwarf her guaranteed money from Nike, creating a self-sustaining financial engine that funds all her other ventures. This isn't just an endorsement, it's ownership of a slice of the global sportswear market. Second, the media and content division. A Netflix or Amazon documentary is almost a certainty. Her story has all the elements of a compelling series. The small-town Iowa prodigy, the record-breaking college career, the intense pressure being the savior of a professional league, the brutal adversity of her injury-riddled rookie season, and her triumphant off-court business moves. But it will go beyond a simple retrospective. Imagine a docuseries that follows her in real time, behind the scenes as she designs her signature shoe, in the room during high-stakes business meetings for speaking gigs, and intimately documenting her grueling recovery from injury. This all-access model has proven wildly successful for franchises like Formula One's Drive to Survive. A Clark County series could do the same for the WNBA. But critically, the intellectual property and a significant portion of the profits would flow to Clark herself, not the league. Furthermore, her own production company is a logical next step. She could develop content focused on women's sports, highlighting the stories of other athletes, or creating instructional content for young players. This moves her from being the subject of the story to being the storyteller, a position of immense power and influence. Third, the legacy and education vertical, the Caitlin Clark Academy. This is where she builds a permanent institution that outlasts her playing career. Following the model of superstars like Stephen Curry and the late Kobe Bryant, a basketball academy is a perfect fusion of passion and profit. It wouldn't just be a few summer camps. It could be a state-of-the-art facility offering year-round training, mentorship, and elite competition for the next generation of female players. The curriculum would extend beyond basketball fundamentals, incorporating modules on brand building, navigating name, image, and likeness, deals in college, mental toughness, and financial literacy. She could partner with her own sponsors, Nike for apparel, Gatorade for sports science, perhaps a financial institution for the literacy program, to create a fully integrated experience. This academy becomes a physical manifestation of her brand, a place where her legacy is actively built by shaping future stars. The revenue streams are diverse. Tuition fees, corporate sponsorships of the facility, and exclusive content filmed there for her media division. Fourth, the global expansion plan. While the WNBA is focused on the North American market, Clark's brand has no such borders. The buzz around her is international, and her playing style, centered on deep, audacious three-pointers, is a global language. We should expect strategic, high-value appearances in Europe and Asia during the WNBA offseason, not to play in foreign leagues, but to host clinics, launch her products, and attend premier sporting events like the Grand Slams in tennis or soccer's Champions League to further cement her status as a global sports icon. These trips would be sponsored, content-rich, and designed to build her international fan base, which in turn makes her even more valuable to her corporate partners back home. The through line in all of this is a radical form of independence. The WNBA's business model has traditionally been based on control. They control the schedules, the broadcast rights, the league-wide sponsorships, and, to a large extent, the public narrative of their players. Clark's multi-pronged empire-building strategy systematically dismantles that control. If the league has a PR crisis, her brand continues to thrive on its own channels. If there is a lockout, she has her speaking tours, her shoe sales, and her media projects to sustain her. She is creating what economists call optionality. Her success is no longer contingent on a single entity's decisions. This is what truly separates her from every player who came before her in the WNBA. They were athletes who built brands. Caitlin Clark is a global brand that expresses itself through athletics. The ultimate endgame? A future where Caitlin Clark is a standalone 9-figure enterprise that merely partners with the WNBA rather than being dependent on it. She has proven that the most powerful position an athlete can hold is not as an employee of the league, but as a founder and CEO of their own destiny. The Long Island speech was not just a payday. It was a declaration of independence. And every brick she lays from this point forward is building a kingdom that will long outlast her time on the court. What do you think will be her most successful venture? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe to follow every step of this incredible business journey. And don't for a second think Clark is detached from the league's internal battles. Her influence is now being felt in the most critical negotiation room the WNBA has. While the user's original script mentions her attending a key CBA meeting, the broader context is even more significant. The Players Union, led by President Nneka Agwemike, opted out of the current CBA immediately after the 2024 finals, demanding a new agreement that reflects their true value. The deadline for this negotiation is October 31st, creating a tense standoff that could lead to a lockout. Clark's role in these negotiations is unique. As a generational talent who has personally driven a surge in league revenue, her advocacy carries unique power. Her massive off-court earnings, from sponsorships to these speaking gigs, strengthen the player's position at the bargaining table in a way never seen before. She is living proof of the league's massive and largely untapped revenue potential. The players are not asking for NBA-level money. They are asking for an equivalent share of the revenue they generate. As Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces, a vice president of the Players Association, stated, "We're not asking for the same amount as men. We simply want to get paid the same percentage of share revenue." Clark's financial success demonstrates to the league and the owners at the players, particularly the stars, are the product. They are the reason franchise values are soaring. The average WNBA team is now worth $269 million, a 180% increase from just a year ago, with the new Golden State Valkyries franchise valued at a league-high $500 million. When Clark speaks in that negotiation room, she isn't just a player asking for a raise. She is a business entity demonstrating the billions of dollars in value that she and her colleagues create. Her off-court power directly fuels the on-court fight for fair pay, making her one of the most influential figures in the history of the sport.